Op de bergen die nacht, lei ons in donker en wacht. En die modder en bloed lei en koud, streepzak en reemkleeft in wijn. En wij huis in mijn plaats, de kolen verbrand, zodat hij ons kan vangen. Maar hij zat er niet vierhanden diep, diep bij de mij.
Good afternoon to my listeners. If it isn't clear now, I am pleased to welcome to the show today Inge Kuschke. Inge, do I have you?
Goedemiddag, ja meneer.
Wonderlijk. Inge, just going to start as we do usually. How's the week in Agri been?
Yeah, it's been okay. Busy, a few engagements. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Loving the hat, by the way, loving the hat. And tell me, how's Inge?
Yeah, Inge is going on. I must say, being an introvert and not liking social interaction too much, even the lockdown is even starting to get to me. So I can imagine you social creatures are really struggling.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time. I think this interview is going to take a slightly different approach to previous interviews. And that is that I'm actually going to ask you some real questions, which I require genuine answers to, because you are something of an enigma to the rest of us. I think perhaps if I can just start, I'd like to just read some of your bio. I don't have a presentation today, but I'm going to read some of the bio that you provided, because I think it's excellent material for the group.
I think I gave you too much ammunition, to be honest, in that bio. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, so I note you said you grew up in a small town in the Lowveld, also known as the Slowveld, which is funny because I grew up in the Highveld, which is just known as the Highveld. But you grew up in White River. Now, I just wanted to check, was it really White River that you grew up in, or was it Witrivier?
Well, there can surely be two names. But it actually gets its name from, there's a specific stone that's very prevalent there that actually does turn the local river white. It's like a chalky stone, so it gets its name.
I had heard that White River was the posh side of town, and Witrivier was the not so posh side.
No, not at all. We like to refer to ourselves as die Voorstad van Nelspruit. But no poshness really happening. There's a fancy private school outside of White River called Uplands.
And I see from your bio you didn't go
Nelson Mandela's grandchild went there, and that's pretty much the only claim to fame that we have.
No, but I note from your bio that you didn't go there. But you do mention being hoofmeisie. And I did enjoy this part of your bio. My father, a dominee, walked onto stage and whispered to me, "Hoe die hell het jy dit reg gekry?"
Yes.
So brilliant. Well done. How many people were there in your school for you to be hoof?
Therein lies the truth. We were about 800 people.
Oh, well, that is still quite a lot. Then you did some studying stuff, which is, to be honest, mostly boring. But I see here you spent time doing volunteer work in Ecuador, trying to find yourself.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that, please.
So after my studies, I wasn't really sure what or when or where. So did some mostly what they call biological volunteering. So I did manual labor for 8 hours straight every day. Most of it in the Amazon. So some of it was like physically macheting invasive plants down and helping the small farmers there with actual hard labor. And the most interesting of that was probably doing some work in the biological garden in Tena, Ecuador, where a lot of people, the students there go for research, and there's a big medicinal section to the botanical gardens. And
you must have enjoyed that, the medicinal side of things.
It was very interesting, yes.
And did you find yourself?
For about 3 hours one night.
Wonderful, wonderful. Was that when you're at the medicinal place?
No further comment.
Okay. And then just one thing in your work life here that you've mentioned, you said you were a shots girl, or as they're known today, a social interaction facilitator. And I think if I can just, at this point, talk to our audience and say, you know, we will make mistakes in life. And the person who appointed Inge as a social interaction facilitator made a mistake. That's fine. It's how you learn from those mistakes. Unfortunately, I couldn't track him down, so I'm not sure if he has learned anything from that mistake. Inge, I'm going to move on to some of my own questions here. I think just to start, where did you find your passion for crops and weed? Weeds. Sorry, weeds. I meant weeds.
I'm not sure. It was actually always a passion. My grandfather used to farm. When he retired, actually, he bought a pecan nut farm in a place called Nailstrom, now Modimolle. That's known for some other not so savory stuff. I don't know who watched the news a while ago. But really, I had no idea what to study. I actually studied law for a while, and then I switched my degrees because people were really disturbing to me.
Well, I imagine you probably found yourself on the wrong side of the law.
No, nothing like that. But yeah, I actually just kind of flipped through the available stuff, and then I saw the kind of agri-economics one, and it looked pretty interesting mixture of things. And I knew I wanted to kind of be outside and travel, and I thought that presented an opportunity.
Okay, very interesting. And then a totally unrelated question. What is your favorite movie?
Sure. I'm gonna go very corny, unfortunately. I'll probably change my mind if I have a bit more time, but what immediately comes to mind will have to be top 5 of Quentin Tarantino, and probably on top of that will be Pulp Fiction.
Oh, wow, that's not at all what I expected. I assumed you would have said Bubble Boy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, about a guy with no immune system. I'm going to move on to question 6 that I have here. How much has your life deteriorated since Claire took over as your manager? Just to keep your answer short, I would ask you to rate that on a scale of 8 to 10.
For a scale of 8 to 10, probably -2.
Interesting. Okay, that's off the charts then. You've written, I think, at least 4 MIRs during your time at Green Cape. And this is a true thing. This is a true story I'm about to tell. In 2019, last year, when we received your MIR back from the language editor, he described it as, and he's been doing MIRs for as long as you, he described it as the best one he had ever read. However, he took 5 days longer than he promised to edit this one. So that was a huge disappointment. Now, just to move on, I wanted to question something with you in terms of your MIRs. Is it necessary that you start them every year with the line, "This year we've seen growth in the agri sector"?
I don't recall ever having written that line. Can you be more specific?
No, that's all I had to ask you about that.
Okay.
But what hasn't grown in the agri sector is the team at Green Cape. When I started, there were 3 members of the team, yourself, Kathy, and Jana, and all the guys remember Jana. But the team has shrunk since then. Do you think there's a bad seed in the team that might be responsible for that?
There does seem to be a constant factor if you want to look at it objectively. So possibly, yeah.
And then again, another unrelated question, but I was told you're the right person to ask about this. Where can we get liquor at the moment?
No comment.
Okay. Then a quick, just a one or the other here. If you had to have a sit-down dinner, who would you choose? Chris Milson or Tamsin Farriger?
I'm not sure why you would even pose such a question, Nick. That's really not funny. But
Okay.
I would have to go with Tamsin.
Okay, that's fine. Look, I have just one more question, but before I get to that, I wanted to tell you something, and I wanted to wait to see how your demeanor is, and I think I feel comfortable enough to tell you this, Inge. And this is, I do need you to brace yourself. So please be sitting down if you aren't, because this will come as a huge shock. Inge, everyone in the screen that you can see now has, almost like you, not been in the office for 2 months. And this will probably be news to you, but there's actually a global pandemic at the moment. A virus has taken over the world, and none of us are in the office. So if you do happen to go there and find no one, that's why, just to let you know. My final question for you, and thank you for your time today, I really appreciate it. If you had to marry one green caper, please explain to me why it would be Emmanuel.
Well, Emmanuel is the obvious choice. Yeah, I think he is not full of shit, and that's a very good quality.
Excellent. Inge, thank you so much. You've been a real sport. Silnet, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you, team. Can I ask that everyone just switch on their cameras if you are comfortable to do that? I think this is a perfect opportunity to actually take a team photo, because this is wonderful. Meg, are you guys, hello. Yay.
Hey, is it just me? Is it
No,
over?
hello, you there? Beautiful, Snare, we see Sam, where are you? Okay, we have a bottom row that's not on. Ollie, Tekelo, Janelle, Emmanuel. Tekelo's there. If you, maybe I'm putting you on the spot. But
Emmanuel needs to go put his clothes on.
Okay, let's go with the ones that are there. 1, 2, 3, smile.
I hear you, Sam. Thanks, Inge.
Okay, cool, awesome. Thanks, guys. I think Zoom actually works beautifully. What do you? What's the sense?
What did I miss?
Everything. The whole thing.
Okay.
But we did record it. Actually, we should have said we were recording it, but we did record it to test.
It shows you that you're recording.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's a notice.
Awesome, ladies and gentlemen. That was Inge. What was this? Hadida something. Whiteboard Radio signing off for the weekend. Stay safe. Have a good one. Thank you so much for joining. See you next week. Bye.
Oh, and remember